So let me go to the story. Trump officials torpedoed Nvidia's push to export AI chips to China. Rob, I think you got a clip on this one as well. Shortly before President Trump met with Xi in South Korea, an urgent issue emerged. Trump wanted to discuss a request by Nvidia's chief executive office, CEO, to allow sales of new generation of artificial intelligence chips to China. Current and former administration officials said greenlighting the export of Nvidia's Blackwell chips would be a seismic policy shift, potentially giving China, the U.S. biggest geopolitical competitor, a technological accelerant. Huang, the CEO who speaks to Trump often, has lobbied relentlessly to maintain access to the Chinese market. Go ahead, Rob, if you can play this.
President Donald Trump on Sunday said he will allow Nvidia and Beijing to make deals on AI chips, but said he will not allow Nvidia's most advanced semiconductors to be sold to China. This announcement follows earlier indications from Trump that he was open to discussing export controls on Nvidia's leading Blackwell chips. In a 60 Minutes interview that aired on CBS on Sunday night, Trump was asked about China's interest in buying the world's most advanced semiconductors, especially Nvidia's flagship Blackwell AI chips. Interviewer Norah O'Donnell asked Trump if he would allow Nvidia to sell their most advanced chips to China, and the president replied, quote, "No, we won't do that." However, Trump said he will let Beijing deal with Nvidia, noting that the American AI chip maker is the, quote, prime company in the world for that, end quote, and added, quote, "We will let them deal with Nvidia, but not in terms of the most advanced." After the two leaders met face-to-face in South Korea, Trump told reporters that there were no talks about Blackwells. President Trump said, quote, "We did discuss chips, and they are going to be talking to Nvidia and others about taking chips, and we make great chips." The president added that he will have a word with Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang, and said further discussions will be between China and Nvidia with the U.S.
Brandon, where are you at with this? Does this concern you?
No, I mean, I'm glad that he's saying no, that we can't...
To the better chips.
Yeah, that we're not going to send the Blackwell chips. But I am concerned that they're still going to end up there, because I remember in Biden's administration, he also put a ban on sending NVIDIA chips to China, but they still ended up there. So I don't know if that's on part of the company, because I know Jensen was advocating to send these chips to China, but I don't know. I think it's common sense to the highest magnitude to not send them to China. Like, all the most advanced and important things of the future economy are going to be done with these chips. So I hear people on TV saying, "Oh yeah, we should probably send them there so they aren't forced to go out on their own and make their own in like a hostile way." But no, I completely disagree with the notion or the argument of sending the most advanced chips to China for sure.
Tom.
Well, there's two ways to look at it, right? The H20 chip is the slightly lesser chip that they're allowed to send to China. Now, what does that mean? That means China builds its own data centers with the chips inside China. Now you take a look at deals that have been struck, like what OpenAI struck the deal with Amazon, because they wanted access to Amazon's data center through the cloud so that they could take advantage of 200,000 Blackwells running, or H20 Blackwells running on Amazon's data center. So how China gets access to it is two ways. One, they build their own data center and they want the good chips to build it. The second is they're using proxy locations to do their intelligence resource. And if you don't think they're using proxy locations in other parts of the country, of the world, to get to the cloud to do some of the work, then you're not paying attention. So it's got to be bigger than just the chip shipping to China. One of the things that was pointed out, they said, quote, "Exports of Blackwell chips to China are worth tens of billions of dollars to Nvidia and could keep Chinese companies hooked on Nvidia's technology. Nvidia a buy." That's an analyst saying, wow, wouldn't it be great if Nvidia's hot chips could be in China, because now China has to depend on Nvidia and they'll keep buying them from Nvidia, and so Nvidia is still a stock buy. Whoa. So that's what you see, that the logic?
Greed is just the logic instead of long-term thinking.
That's exactly. That's greed on that, where the strategic part of it is, wait, we got to keep China,
America first,
and anybody from operating the big data centers from giving access to China by proxy to the processing power.
But let me ask you a question. If you play China real quick, if I'm China right now, and how bad do you think the president and his administration would like to get the victory done pre-4th of July, pre-Q2 of next year, celebrating the 250-year anniversary?
A ton of optics.
Okay, so then if I'm China and I'm on their side, guess what I'm doing? What do you think I'm doing? Delay.
That's right,
delay,
and then-
delay. And then the last week I say,
we make a deal for
if-
lithium.
if you give me those chips, the better chips of NVIDIA, I will agree to this, but I need those better chips from NVIDIA. And then what do?
No way.
Huh?
No way.
But so
But if you cut the
you have
deal
a
and say,
choice.
well,
Yeah.
they're going to get them anyway somehow.
You have a choice.
The other thing you have to think of is how long are they the better chips before, technology is very difficult to slow down. They might be the better chips right now, but there's going to be something better that eventually
For sure,
happens.
but who is going to be making the better chips then? It's probably still going to be NVIDIA. It's not like it's going to be that changing that dramatically. No matter what the new chips are going to be, they're going to
AMD
want
is
the new chips.
behind. Intel is limping, getting loan guarantees from the federal government.
Or even teaming up together. Like they're investing into each other right now to create like a flywheel of three competitors giving each other money saying, listen, one of us is going to get this right. And if you do, I'm going to rely on the $50 billion I'm giving you.
Yeah, no, we have a huge head start, and we have to maintain that and keep the gap growing instead of shrinking. Like the gap started shrinking for a bit of time. There's that chart that shows China versus America's AI development, and they started closing the gap a little bit. But stuff like this will keep us like this is a nuclear arms race. Like I don't know why people don't see it that way. It's literally the nuclear weapons of the day. So that chart right there. See, China starts narrowing the gap, but that's a little bit of an old chart.
So do you do it? This is what I'm trying to ask you guys. You're the deal maker, okay? You're noticing they're delaying. They want the chips, okay? They want the better chips from those guys. You're U.S., that deal is not done. Do you go into 4th of July without a China deal done if they're asking for those
You're
chips?
talking tariff deal.
Yes, the tariff deal is not done. Do you go or do you give the chips and tell Huang to say, you know what, you can sell some of those chips to them for the next 2 or 3 years? What do you do?
No, I don't let it.
Yeah.
If the deal doesn't get done, it doesn't get done. But I don't let them do it because look, we are the top dog on technology. This also relates to defense. Why does Ukraine have a Jones for Tomahawk missiles? Because they can fly all the way to areas around Moscow, to power plants and Russian targets deep, and they're accurate, very accurate missiles. That's why they want them. Why did Israel want a lot of our more advanced nuclear stuff? Why did they want support with that? Why did they want the more advanced aircrafts? This happens in the defense world, Pat, and people need to understand that this chip is a Tomahawk missile in the war on AI.
100%.
There's probably, Pat, there's probably other areas that China really needs us for. Their economy is not in the greatest shape right now. So there are things that the tariff does inflict pain on them for. So we may have leverage in other areas so we don't have to, even if they delay, concede on the chips. We may be able to use other levers to put a deal together. And I agree with you. Optically, it would be really important to get that done sooner than later.
Yeah,
I agree with that. But at what price?
Yes, for sure. No question about it. There's this event that's coming up this week with the America Business Forum that started today. Witkoff's going to be there. I was with Witkoff. We were with Witkoff last night in Miami. Mayor Suarez, this event. A lot of interesting people are coming at this event, and we'll be there on Thursday. But you got Messi, you got Jamie Dimon, you got Maria Corina Machado, a bunch of different guys. And topic of discussion, I think, at this event. Tom, what are the odds that they're going to be talking about New York City mayoral race? What happened there?
1,000%. It's going to be on. I think Brett Baer is one of the moderators. How can this not be? Hey, what is the change and what is New York City leadership going to mean for this? And just fill in the blank. Everybody could be asked that question.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm asking that because this is all leading to the big 2026 4th of July World Cup. America's got to be like top shape when the World Cup comes. Because we have to have because President Trump knows optics better than anybody else we've had in the White House. I don't think anybody's understood optics better than him. That deal with China's got to get done for us to be able to, sell that victory in the World Cup on the big stage. We'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. I do think this is going to be a deal that both parties will use the leverage. I wonder who is more patient. Typically, China's more patient in these types of situations, but we'll find out. 2026 is around the corner. Craziness is going on. For some of you guys that have big plans for 2026, I will remind you, whatever you do, do not go into 2026 without a business plan. It'll be a big mistake you're making. There are way too many moving parts. You know, every year when we do the business planning workshop, I openly talk about what threats and events we're concerned about happening the next year. We openly share with you, here's what we're looking at. Here's what we're seeing as possible enemy. And here's what we're seeing as an operator, the opportunities that exist for us. And we openly share it with you. We share with you how we're growing our YouTube channel and our media company, what our consulting firm is going. We're sharing our strategies with you. If you're somebody watching and saying, I'm sick and tired of playing small, I want to take my life and my business to the next level, the business planning workshop on December 12th is for you. But number two, if you're somebody that's running a business and you are already a millionaire, we have a lot of people that watch this content. You're doing 10 million a year, 100 million a year. Maybe you're doing a billion a year. You got a couple thousand employees, but you've gotten to a point where you're bored and it's repetitive. And it's just kind of like you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. This is a very, very good event to even wake you up as a leader of the company. So quietly, you can kind of get on the business planning workshop. It's not something that you have to be physically here from anywhere in the world. So if you haven't yet registered yet, click on a link below. Get registered December 12th. Let's spend an entire day together. We go through a 200-page manual together, which everybody will get. Or you can go to bpw.betdavidconsulting.com. Again, bpw.betdavidconsulting.com. Looking forward to seeing you guys there on December 12th. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.